Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be going over a Joe Biden versus Ron DeSantis election prediction in 2024. Hope you guys do this video. Subscribe to this YouTube channel. Click that like button. Comment down below any suggestions. And I hope you guys do this video. So as for which party will win the 2024 presidential election, Democrats have a 54-cent share, Republicans 47-cent share, Libertarians at a 2-cent share, and the Green Party also has a 2-cent share. As for the Democratic candidate in 2024, Joe Biden has a 41-cent share, Kamala Harris 35, and Pete Buttigieg 7. As for the Republican candidate in 2024, Donald Trump is leading. He has a 27% share. Earlier, obviously Ron DeSantis did have a lead. Donald Trump was able to take back a lead from Ron DeSantis. So Donald Trump is at 27 cents. Ron DeSantis at 23. Nikki Haley at 8. Ted Cruz at 7. And Mike Pence also at 7. So I think definitely Donald Trump could be the front runner. But in this case, I'm going to be using Ron DeSantis. We go over characterization. Safe states will be 15% or more. Likely states will be between 5 and 15%. Lean states will be between 1 and 5 points. And tilt states will be under 1%. So let's begin. Let's characterize the safe states for Kamala Harris. Obviously, Hawaii. For Kamala Harris. As well as her home state of California and the West Coast. But I'm not going to include Oregon in that safe area. I also think she's going to win New York and Illinois. But I'm going to skip over New Jersey. These are some of the more competitive states in the Rust Belt that are going to be less solid. I also think in Maine's 1st district, she's going to win a solid margin. That's 159 electoral votes, say, for Kamala Harris. As for Ron DeSantis, I'm going to start off by giving him, obviously, Nebraska, not including that 2nd district, Kansas, Oklahoma, Utah. I think Alaska's probably going to be likely. I think he's going to do well in Indiana, and South Carolina. He has that sort of bigger appeal there. So that gives, and in Iowa, I also think he's going to win in Iowa. But it's not going to be safe. I don't think it's going to be more than 15% for Ron DeSantis. I think it's going to be around 10, 11% for Donald Trump if he did run again. But for DeSantis, I think it's going to win by around 6% over those two states. Also, that's 159 to 122. Kamala Harris starts off with an early lead. As for likely states for Kamala Harris, I'm going to give her Oregon. I think in Oregon, she's going to win there, as well as New Jersey. These are sort of like Hillary Clinton. Kamala Harris is not going to have that, Rust Belt, as well as Connecticut. I think it's also going to be around that area. But I still think Connecticut's going to be safe. These two states, Oregon and New Jersey, are a little more conservative than the others on the West Coast and the Rust Belt region, the northeastern region of the United States. So I still think these are going to be a little under 15 points, maybe 13, 14%, just as Hillary Clinton was able to do those. As for likely states I think she's going to win Colorado, New Mexico, and Virginia. Those are all going to go to Kamala Harris, likely. So that gives her 209 electoral votes to Ron DeSantis, 122 electoral votes. He starts off with a lead. So as in Iowa, I think that's going to be likely. Ohio, I think these are all going to be likely states. And maybe decide about around 6 points, 7 points. That's over 5. It would be likely or not as Ron DeSantis is. But over in those two states, I think Republicans are going to be able to hold a victory there. As well as in Florida, I think that's going to be likely. That is his home state, so he won by a very small amount, obviously, in 2018, but that was a Democratic year. So in 2022, we're going to really see is Florida going to be likely, and how popular is Ron DeSantis? How is he going to win? I think he's going to win by about the same amount as Marco Rubio, around 7%, 6% in Florida. I think he's going to win there, so that he's probably going to win that around there. I think Florida is going to maintain in his column because he's from the state of Florida. He's going to win by a bigger margin than DeSantis. Bigger margin than Donald Trump. So I think he's going to be able to maintain a pretty significant victory, as well as in Alaska. I think he's going to win that by a likely margin. That puts Kamala Harris at 209 to Ron DeSantis' 178. As for lean states for Kamala Harris, I'm going to start off by giving you the overall state of Maine, Nebraska's 2nd district, New Hampshire. Not New Hampshire, Minnesota. Not New Hampshire. I think it's going to be more competitive. So I give Kamala Harris 222. Lean states for Ron DeSantis, I'm going to give him Texas. I think Texas is going to be one that leans, as well as Maine's 2nd district. I think he's also going to carry that lead. So that gives Kamala Harris 222 to Ron DeSantis' 219. Really close so far. Tilt states for Vice President Kamala Harris. I'm going to give her New Hampshire. I think she's going to win New Hampshire by a tilt margin. I think she's going to be able to win there, as well as Nevada. In Nevada, I think she's going to win tilt margin. However, I think Ron DeSantis is going to win in North Carolina tilt. I think this is going to be under a percentage point. It doesn't really have that appeal. One part is telling me North Carolina is traditional Republican. I think in North Carolina is traditional Republican. It would stay red, but at the same time, minority voters are moving in. So I think it's going to be more competitive, but I don't see Kamala Harris able to flip that. I still think Ron DeSantis is going to maintain his base in North Carolina. So that gives Ron DeSantis 235 to Kamala Harris's 232. So in Georgia, I think Kamala Harris is going to have that appeal to a lot of these, Hispanic voters. Sorry, not Hispanic voters, African American voters. But I think Ron DeSantis can also bring an appeal to, the suburban voters. And I think because of that, I think in Georgia, they're sort of tired of the Trump Republican-esque candidates. I think that's going to go to Kamala Harris tilt. I still think if that was Joe Biden on the ballot, it would have been a bigger amount, but I still think it's going to go to Kamala Harris tilt. However, in Arizona, that's going to go to Ron DeSantis tilt. I think he's going to be able to do better in Maricopa County, especially because he has that Hispanic appeal. Because he's from Florida, he's going to be able to pick up lots of Hispanic voters in Arizona. I think he's going to do well over in Arizona. I think he's going to win that state. And I'm also going to give him Wisconsin. You look, there's about 40,000 Hispanic voters in Wisconsin, which is bigger than the overall margin of victory in Wisconsin for Donald Trump and Joe Biden, both in 2016 and 2020. Even if Wisconsin decided by 1%, there are more Hispanic voters than the margin of victory in Wisconsin. Because remember, 0.6% is around 22,000 votes. In Wisconsin, around 25,000 votes or so. Around 1% is going to be about under 50,000, and there are approximately about 50,000 Hispanic voters. So that margin of victory is going to be a bit higher in Wisconsin. And I believe that, Wisconsin could go either way, but because, I think Ron DeSantis is going to be able to win Wisconsin by a considerable amount. I'm going to characterize this as, leans, but barely leans. I think a 1% victory for Ron DeSantis. A leans, but it also can be considered a tilt victory for Ron DeSantis. So I think, that's going to be really competitive for DeSantis. I still think he's going to win there. In Pennsylvania, in Michigan, I think Kamala Harris, has a sort of an appeal there. But I still think he can bring back some of these Rust Belt voters from 2016. I also have changed my factors. Some factors have changed my mind in Nevada. Because I think, in Nevada, this is really a toss-up state. Because one part, I'm thinking about the Hispanic voters and how Ron DeSantis could improve. I also thinking about, how Nevada is traditionally Democratic. And I don't know if it's really going to flip, but I know that because of Hispanic voters, if Ron DeSantis can improve that number, able to flip, the areas around Reno, and is able to break in and expand that lead, and, maybe not win Clark County, but if he loses Clark County by around 5%, he's able to flip the state. as Ron DeSantis, Donald Trump lost around 10%. So, maybe if he loses by a smaller amount, he's going to be able to build up that deficit. So here's the electoral map. 242 for Vice President Kamala Harris, 296 for Governor DeSantis. That means he will be elected the President of the United States in 2024, according to my prediction. Obviously, take this with a grain of salt. This is not something that you're just going to go ahead and, obviously my predictions are not always right. Obviously, before the 2020 election, I wasn't really making any predictions. My predictions, I have made many predictions before the 2020 election that might not have been uploaded publicly, but, a lot of them weren't right. Obviously, I would characterize Georgia as a leans margin and Arizona as a leans margin for Joe Biden, Georgia as a leans margin for Donald Trump. So a lot of these polls and forecasts weren't correct in predicting the winner of the election, and they probably won't be correct. So I definitely think you guys got to take this very slowly. We should be heading more to getting closer to 2023 and 2024, but I think 2022 should be more focused on. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.